Hey, it's a spirited baritone from Cello Via. We were going to talk about alcohol and follow some recipes from Iconic Spirits. That's going to start next week. But what I wanted to do today was show you something that's very simple and super healthy for you. I'm going to be making a chickpea flour pizza dough. It's so simple that the hardest thing about it is going out to buy the flour. Let me show you the ingredients first. This is the chickpea flour I bought at Patel Brothers. It's 4 pounds. You need a little olive oil to cook the dough in. I'll show you that later. And I'm going to mix in a little bit of oregano, salt, and pepper into the dough once it's ready to go. Oops, sorry about that. So all you need is a bowl, a flour sifter, a frying pan, and a little water. This is so simple. So all you have to do is sift 1 cup of the chickpea flour into a mixing bowl. And you have to use a sifter because a lot of the chickpea flour clumps up. Okay? I'm not going to make a whole lot here because there's only 2 of us, me and Cindy. But still, you'd be surprised how much you can make with so little. Now I'm going to add a little bit of water and stir. You don't need a lot of water because the first part of this is making a paste. Then we're going to let the paste sit for 15 minutes. Like I said, don't use too much water. If you do use too much water, just add a little bit more flour. But you want a paste. Think of it as making pancake batter. But this is like really thick pancake batter. Let me show you how thick this is. So you can see that? Pretty thick. So now we're just going to let it sit for 15 minutes and then I'll be back. Okay, so we waited 15 minutes. This thing has settled down a bit. Now we're going to add more water to it and turn it into a thin pancake batter. Still not thin enough. You want it watery so that when we do fry it up, it's going to spread out and become thin. If it's too thick, it's too doughy. Can you see that? It's pretty watery, very watery. Now I'm going to add a little pepper to it, because I love pepper. I'm going to add a little oregano. And just a tiny, tiny bit of salt. That's all. All right, mix this up. And now we're ready. So we have a nice hot frying pan, a little bit of olive oil. And once again, the trick is to make this as thin as possible. I found out that if it's too thick, it's going to be a little chewy. So just like a pancake, get it thin. Are you on this, Cindy? Get close. Get it thin, shake it up. You want it thin. There you go, like that. That's super thin. Okay. If you get any air bubbles in here, just give them a little poke. You don't want any air bubbles. Doesn't take long, just a couple of minutes on each side. I think the total cooking time is going to be about 4 minutes. You want the top to be nice and dry, no liquid left. Let's give it a flip and see what this looks like. Nice and brown. That's what you want it to look like. Even if it's a little cooked more than that, that'll be fine. Okay. And we'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so it's looking pretty good on both sides. You could bake this in the oven, but I'm not going to do that. It's a little bit too hot today to be baking. So I have some homemade chicken with tomato sauce and onions. I'm simply going to spread this on. If I was making pizza, I'd be using my homemade tomato sauce, you know, making just like you would a pizza. But I'm doing something a little bit different, a little bit last minute here. Get this spread out. Boy, that looks good. All right. I got a little Manchego cheese. Just going to grate a little Manchego cheese on the top of that. Like I said, simple, delicious, and healthy. I'm going to cover this up and wait until the cheese melts. Okay, so the cheese is melted, the chicken's hot, this thing is ready to eat. The thing about the chickpea flour though, it's not going to be as crispy and as chewy as the pizza dough, but it makes up for it in taste and the health benefits. So, hope you enjoyed that. I'm certainly going to enjoy eating this. Till next time, Spirited Baritone says goodbye, arrivederci.